Hi, Sam Clear here for Hungerford Town FC. Now, the club has a long history in which time it has had the honour of kickstarting the careers of young talent who have gone on to be household names. One of those names in recent years is Charlie Austin. Austin played for the Crusaders in the 2007-2008 Hellenic League Premier season and has gone on to play in the Football League and, of course, the Premier League, playing for clubs such as Burnley, QPR, Southampton, and now, of course, West Bromwich Albion. And today, Charlie Austin joins us from his home to speak exclusively to Hungerford Town FC. Charlie, how are you?
Yes, fine, thanks, Sam. Yourself?
Yeah, all good this end, all good. How are you coping without football at the moment? How are you filling the void?
First couple of weeks was okay. Quite nice to just spend some time with the family. I think people don't realise how much you're in and out of your home, in and out of the kids' lives and stuff because you're training so much in games. You are away from everybody. So the first three weeks, 6 weeks, okay. Then you're itching to get back. Do you know what I mean? But everybody has their own individual program sent from the club and to keep yourself going, because we're fortunate at the moment that the season still looks like it's going to be played. So we've got to be in tip-top shape to go back. I think only over the last week or so we've been able to train on our own individually back at the training ground.
So you're quite confident you think the season's going to be finished?
I think it all comes down to finances, if I'm honest, Sam. That's the long and short bit. I get the health, of course it is. Do you know what I mean? It is definitely there. But the only way it's going to possible for it to finish is by Premier League financing what is below. And if they're not willing to do that, then maybe the Championship will have to finish.
So it must be quite frustrating for you and all the players not really knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, not knowing what's going to happen, but we're all eager to go back. When it's safe, but we are eager to go back. It's like they're going back. Like I said it yesterday. What are we at now? We're Thursday. I said it yesterday after Premier League testing that only 6 people tested positive, and there's less than 1%, and surely that's a positive. The response I got back, but zeros, we shouldn't have, it should be zero. I get that, but if you're testing that many people, of course you're going to get that. They didn't know they had symptoms. Mariappa said he hadn't left his home. So,
really?
Yeah, and if he didn't get tested, say, 2 days ago, he would have never known he had it, probably stayed in isolation, lockdown purposes, like in his home and stuff, and then in 7 days, as said by the guidelines, that you almost passes through you.
You're right. That is, I think I saw your tweet. It comes out where if you take the amount of players throughout the whole of the Premier League and the players who have been tested positive, it is something like a 0.0 something percent.
Yeah, and the staff as well, Sam, you've got to remember. Because the way it works is every Premier League squad has a 25-man squad, 25 players. Coaching staff is normally 5, 6. Medical staff is another 8, 9, and then the massage. You're talking about 45, nearly a 50-man collective group. Do you know what I mean?
Seen what they've done in Germany, obviously, with the Bundesliga. You've been keeping up with that, and do you think that's run successfully at the moment?
Of course, yeah, but it was run successfully. It seems like there's no problem. Seems like we're going to have the second week of games that are going to happen this weekend come in. Of course, we watched it, seen the highlights, etc., etc. The stadiums are empty, but we've all played under 23s games, reserve games, non-league games, kids growing up not having fans there. We understand the importance of the fans, of course. But sometimes, as much as they can bring the extra 5-10% that you need, they can also bring 5-10% negativity. I play in teams where we've not been performing, the fans got on each other's back. Well, that's not what you need. So it's like there's two ways of it. The club, as the fans see it, they fund the club and a big payer towards the club. Yeah, totally get that. And then the other side of it, like you need to think about that as well.
So yeah, I understand that completely. So at the moment, it's a bit of an uncertain future. But let's take a little look back to the past. Now, you joined Hungerford Town FC back in 2007, I believe, under the manager. Was it Alan Clark?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your time at Hungerford, your memories.
It was a good team. Like they'd come up through, and Andrew Fitton was the chairman at the time and spent a few quid bringing players in. Gozza, Toby Clark, Sean Terry, Graham Edney, with some good players. Dom Green, Brewer was still there from years before. He was pretty much like the heart and soul of the club. Spent some money, and I'd come over. I was only 18 at the time, and I was playing in the youth team the year before. Just played for the year, but them some good players. Eye opener. But I was 18. I was a local boy. I was like going, going out and doing my own thing with my mates. I didn't really take it as serious as probably what I should have, you know. And that proved when I took it serious the following year when I was at Poole Town, I kind of reaped the rewards. And I feel like Hungerford, in a way, kind of probably missed out in a way of that. Do you know what I mean? But I was just a local boy. I was the only local boy there. So when you had 50, 60 people coming to watch, I was probably the only person they knew, really.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Because Hungerford Town as a football club, it has, obviously it's always going to be a great memory for you because it kick-started your career. But at the same time, it is your hometown club. And therefore, you've got a real affiliation with Hungerford itself.
I want them to do well, Sam. Of course, I live back in the area. I want them to do well, I really do. The disadvantage we have, we're not a football town. And if you're from Hungerford, you realise that. If you're not, it don't take you long to realise that we're not. And that's probably the downfall of the football club. Doesn't matter how much and what we try and make us bigger, because the centre of the town is not a footballing town, we kind of struggle, do you know what I mean, to get people in. And because we've got Reading up the road 20 miles, Swindon are up the road 15 miles, that are actually league football, we're closer to the League 2, do you know what I mean? Obviously being 2 leagues away from it.
Yeah.
But that's still the thing that we've got to find. That's a fighting battle that we're having, you know?
Yeah, I mean, when you say it like that, I suppose you could say that Hungerford have overperformed in a way because, like you're saying, they're only 2 leagues below Swindon, you know, big town.
Sam, I've said this, that they've overperformed, same as Poole Town did, like for the time they took the league down. They've overperformed. I mean this is going to sound silly and harsh and people probably won't understand what I'm getting at, but with the season going null void for non-league teams, some of the teams, for example, Barrow, who are winning the conference, may go up, but they're there. They've obviously cemented themselves. But with Hungerford, it almost leads now they need to needs Danny obviously to come in and rebuild, which obviously he's doing with the players coming in. But are they, and I mean this respectfully, are they going to be able to achieve what he wants to, mid-table, or stay at relegation battle and stay in the Conference South? Or do they need to take a step back and then rebuild and then try and reboot, I guess, back into the conference? I don't know, because this ain't a quick fix. Do you know what I mean? This is not a quick fix. And you see that in the conference and in certain non-leagues, that money is spent. And Hungerford have got probably the smallest budget in the year, at the whole season. And when you're comparing yourself against the top teams, then some of the boys in the top leagues for the conference will be earning more than most of the whole Hungerford team. That is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, when you looked even last year, I mean, one of the greatest moments I think of Hungerford last season was the away day to Torquay. I mean, you look at the size of Torquay as a club, look at the size of them, and beating them 1-0 away from home, fantastic. Yeah. And there was I did see on the day, there was kind of finances versus finances, and the difference was unbelievable. And do you think that non-league, to a certain extent, are going to go the same way as kind of the lower leagues of the English Football League, where money will become a huge factor in the same way it has done kind of higher up?
I think it almost has, Sam, because you're talking about contracts, and I get certain players are on contracts, I get it. But ultimately, money talks. Non-league's now into a business, and if someone's offering an extra 30, 40 quid, like they are going to leave. That do you know what I mean? That is the way it is. If it's going to be to cover your full fuel costs and then give you an extra 50 quid, some of the lads in there have got families and have got families, wives at home. Do you know what I mean? So that's ultimately what it comes down to. That's where I go back to like local boys, and I see Danny's obviously signing a few lads locally. That's probably what's going to help the football club, and it's probably what it's needed. It's probably what it's needed since Bobby took them to a certain place and then obviously left and went on. That's probably what they needed. But it's taken a couple of years, and Spud's done a fantastic job to achieve what he has and get them in the position what they have. But maybe, was it time for a change? Did it run its course? I don't know. By the looks of the players they're bringing in, it looks like they're going down a new avenue.
Going back maybe 10, 12 years when you were in non-league, what was your experience of non-league at the time, and how did it set you up personally for your later years in the Premier League and the Football League?
I don't know, like, I love mixing it, like playing that, just playing against older men. I played when I was 15, 16 against men. That's what set me up when I went into the game when I was 20, 21. Like, I could have it with the older blokes then, because I'd kind of learnt my trade early doors instead of having to wait till I was like 22, 23 to learn my trade. Dressing room banter is exactly the same as what it is in non-league to what it is in the Premier League. That's the group of lads all together laughing and joking. You know, that will never be different. That's definitely the same all the way throughout. It just gives you a platform really of where you need to be, and if you want to go on to achieve better, then like I say, it gives you the foundations to go and do that.
And you said that, I believe you said that one of the best players, or the best player you played with in non-league, was ex-Hungerford man Jaime Gosling. What made him so special?
He was best. He's the best non-league player I've played against, the best non-league player I've seen. When I played for Poole Town, and we played against teams down there, Dorchester. When we played Dorchester, he would have walked in the Dorchester team. He would have been the captain. He'd have been everything, whatever they want. Weymouth, Eastleigh. He was miles better than everyone. He was playing step 5 or something for the Atlantic League, and he was getting booted left, right, and centre. He had something. He was like our maverick. He was the one that you all look to. He was the one that people locally was then coming to watch because it was Gozza and he brought something special. You just wanted to watch what he was going to do. He just kind of oozed the class. I think there's only been 2 or 3 players that I'd have played with in non-league that kind of warrants that, and he's definitely one that just, he could take it all on his shoulders. However, he didn't like getting booted enough, but I suppose that's what happens when you're a top quality player.
And what was your greatest memory, would you say, at Hungerford? Of course, I think you made an FA Vase quarter-final.
Yeah, I mean, we was good. We got beat to Almondsbury at home 1-0. That was unfortunate there. Not Almondsbury, sorry. What's the team up in Newcastle? I think they went on to win it. Yeah, we got beat 1-0 at home. It was devastating. I'm sure they went on to win it anyway. But the round before, we played Greenwich Borough. And we drew 2-2 at home, and I'd scored a header in normal time. Then Graham Ebney scored a smash volley at the top end, which is the Ron Tarry stand, I think, up the other end. But unreal. And then they scored a free kick, took us to their place. And then we beat them 2-1 at theirs, over at their place, Greenwich Borough. It was mad, unbelievable. Gozza scored 2. We were rubbish. We got through. It was brilliant. We all went on the coaches and that. Just the whole experience of that day. As much as I look back on it, it was the FA Vase. But at the time, it was like our FA Cup, you know? Of
course. And I'm sure Danny Robinson would agree with you completely, having won the FA Vase a couple of years ago.
Exactly. And when it comes to that, like that experience, that's going to put him in good stead for where he needs to go. And he's probably got to the point in his managerial career that he needed to take that next step for himself. He's probably always going to take that next step if we didn't get into the current situation that we are in. You know, it looked like Thatcham were going to get promoted, and whether he stayed there or he went onto a new challenge, it looked like he was always going to do something else.
Well, speaking of next steps, you were at Hungerford for a season, and then you moved to Poole, and then it wasn't long after that you made your jump up to Swindon. You talked about Hungerford being a home club. Was there a bit of nervousness from you when you made that step and you made the step away from your hometown club?
As in, when I went to Poole Town, I felt like I had a point to prove. See, when I was playing at Hungerford, I was a local boy. Everybody knew I could play football. I'd come through like Redden Academy before I released. I played in Hungerford youth team. I played for Kimberley, which is only down the road. I played for Newbury under 15, 16s and such. So people in the local area knew that I could play to a decent standard or to a certain standard. When I went to Poole Town, it was like a blank page. Nobody knew about me. Nobody knew anything. So I kind of had a point to prove. Took it a little bit more serious, shall I say, and then all of a sudden I achieved what I did throughout the season. But I was with a good team, you know. When you're involved in a winning team as a centre forward, you're going to get chances, and I was just fortunate to score as many as I did.
And when you made your jump to the Football League, of course, you went with Swindon, not too far up the road from Hungerford. At that point, did you find there was a lot of... Well, I'm sure they were always supportive, but it gave Hungerford, I suppose, the ability. I heard a lot of people, Hungerford fans, making the trip to Swindon to support you.
Yeah, it's kind of like... Because obviously a lot of people from Hungerford are Swindon fans, see. So it was like the local boy from Hungerford going to play for Swindon. It was a bit surreal. a lot of people travelled across, and I just end up taking it to Dr. Water. You know, I just end up scoring all the time. When I hear more people was coming, it kind of just gave me a bit of a boost that I was living their dream, I guess.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I mean, and it seems that they, you know, we're talking to you today from Hungerford. It's great that you've got a great relationship with your hometown club. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I love it, Sam. I do. I think it's brilliant. I just wish they could go and achieve what they want to. I feel we need to, at the club, I'd spoken to Carl and to Patrick last year, and to say to them that you can set up goals, what you want to achieve, but there was so much bit to be done off the pitch first, you know what I mean, before than what it was on the pitch. So kind of unfortunately, the on the field stuff kind of took a bit of a back seat, and they was trying to get people through the gate, which they was obviously doing. And that's always going to be a big challenge, like I said at the start of the interview, because we're not from a football town. It's always going to be a big challenge to get people through the gate.
I think that is a problem with a lot of clubs in West Berkshire. We've seen the issue recently in Newbury. You know, Newbury, I'd say, was primarily a rugby town, and to the point where they've almost let a football club slip through their fingers. Yeah,
and the thing is, and you would say, out of all of them, Newbury would be the ideal position for a football club because of the base, how big it is, how, if you go and, like I say, Newbury was the spider diagram and all the little towns coming off them, for example, they should be able to attract the best players from around this local area. Like you say, that's the scary thing with non-league. It can just be slipped away and clubs are forgotten about, and it's a nightmare when you look at it. I played at Faraday Road. I played cup competitions there. I played their charity games, etc., etc. I always loved going there. When you was a kid, you think, I'm going to play at Newbury Town Ground because it was always like a special game or something. Do you know what I mean? It was always a cup final for some sort. So it needs to be. That's where it needs to be run properly and be, because Hungerford have got to such a high standard now of the non-league pyramid. It's not a part-time. It's not a part-time job. This is a full blast of maintain this to run, because you're all, as everyone's saying, you're playing with people's lives like in the professional game. Well, so you are in the non-league, especially at that level. You've got bar staff to pay. You've got bar staff who need to know if they've got jobs. You can only get, we're quite fortunate, as Patrick keeps been out there, on how many volunteers you get in to come and help the club. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it comes down to. If you don't get the volunteers, the club unfortunately is going to fade away.
Well, you're absolutely right. And speaking of these, you know, the work Patrick's been doing, he's brought in a new manager now. Danny Robinson being the new manager, and he brings with him a new backroom staff to the club, and of course some new additions to the squad as well. Charlie, do you have any advice for Danny and the boys going into the 2020-2021 season?
It's hard to give advice. Like, it's when I remember having a conversation with Ian like a couple of years ago, and he was asking me, what do you like advice for it? And I said, you can only do what you can do. You can only control the controllables. Danny's not going to change. The best thing he can do is just stay to what he is. He's not going to come to Hungerford and turn into Pep Guardiola. He's not going to want to turn. He's going to learn from him, for example, but he's going to add them little ideas to his managerial range. You know what I mean? But the best thing he can do is come from Thatcham to Hungerford and pretty much be the main person he is, play the way he is, and get the lads to play the way he wants to play. And I see he's brought in lads from Thatcham and stuff, like players that he knows, and that's probably what will work best for him. And if he can get a couple of lads additions in, that will add a bit of quality and that to the team. I see the best thing they've done is get a goal scorer. They're worth the weight in gold. Patrick put up there, that was a good signing from Cinderford, and it'd be nice for him to score 20 goals for us next season. And I just said to him, if he scores 20 goals for you next season, he won't be playing for you for the season after. But it's true, because strikers, when he's 23, strikers are worth the weight in gold. So for him, he's using this as a big opportunity. I read his article in the back of the Newbury Weekly News today, and he said jumped at the chance when Danny rang him to come and play. He scored 26 goals or something for Cinderford. And he should be looking at that now as 23-year-olds. Right, I'm going to go and score the goals for Hungerford. And why can't I go and play in the conference, in the main conference? Why can't I go and get the opportunity in League Two and League One? Do you know what I mean? That's how these players have got to see this. It's not. That's how they have to grasp this opportunity. I think some players go in there and then they don't actually realise how close they are to the actual league. And that will be the same as Danny Robinson. They'll be exactly the same. People will be now looking at him from the league above or from the top league of theirs. Do you know what I mean? He's only just got into the club, but that's how he should be looking at this, right? 18 months, 2 years. Where can I take the football club? or where can I take myself and my backroom staff? Because that's how serious we are now. It's not like, do you know what I mean? That's how people don't realise how close in touching distance of where getting to, I guess, the promised land, what everyone, I guess, wants to achieve. But there's big steps to take before they get anywhere near that.
Well, Charlie, best of luck, whether it be for the remainder of the season or next season. Hopefully we'll see you back at Pulpit Lane in some capacity in the near future when everything goes back to normal. But thanks for chatting to us today at Hungerford Town Football Club. We always appreciate your support.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
And take care of yourself. And
you, Sam. No worries. We'll come across each other soon. All right, mate?
Yeah. Take care.
Cheers, Sam. Bye-bye.